Big hi from the Tin Man once again. This is mainly for the guys on the Teep forum. Anyone wants to come over and join up, have a look at discussions and builds that are going on, most welcome to. Plenty of guys there that can help you out with just about everything you need to know. There's a discussion going on at the moment in the general forum about some videos being posted and the works of John Bedini's pulse motors. Some of us are in a bit of a disagreement on how things actually work. He states on the second video posted by one of the members that when you put 12 volts into a coil, the back EMF from that coil when it's switched off will always be less than the 12 volts you put in due to the resistance in windings and all that sort of stuff. But he says if you apply this special pulse technology, you'll get a lot higher voltage out of the coil when it's switched off with this special technology. So here we've got my special technology. It's a bolt activating a switch. This is a 2-pole switch, normally open, normally closed. We're just using the normally open side, simply just to switch the coil on and off. The coil is a coil out of the motor that drives a fan in a microwave. So nothing special about the coil, you can use any coil. So the thing I will say, instead of just listening to one person and thinking that what they are saying is the absolute and only truth, to experiment yourself like I do. So a simple little setup. We've got here a 12 volt battery, goes through the switch, which is this in this case, and we've got a coil, any coil that's wound around a iron core will work just fine, or any sort of a core. Put 2 diodes on your coil, one each end, one facing one direction, one facing the other direction, as you can see there. Okay, from the switch, go down to the coil before the diode. Negative side goes down to the coil before the diode. Now your other side of the diode, because when your coil collapses, the polarity of the voltage is reversed to what you put in. So you got positive here. Once it goes through the diode and the coil collapses, this positive side you've got your battery hooked onto has to go to the negative side of your cap, and the negative side of the coil that your battery is hooked onto, after it goes through the diode, goes to the positive side of your cap. The cap I'm using is a 300 volt cap out of an old El Cheapo throwaway camera. That was the cap for the flash, so it's 300 volts. Of course your 12 volt battery, and hooked up just like that. Now you don't have to have a rotor to operate the switch, you can simply just push the switch by hand, you'll get the same effect. So what we're going to do is find out if what John said is actually the case, that you actually need this special pulse technology to get a higher voltage out of the coil than what you put in. So I'll switch the meter on, and this meter is hooked up to the cap. At the moment you can see it's got 0.488 of a volt in it. So that's our starting voltage in the cap. So from what John was saying, we put our 12 volts in, we should only get, according to him, about 8 volts back. So he says on that video. So I just took the battery up. As you can see, the switch is open, the voltage is not coming up. All I've done is put a simple little crank handle on the back, just to operate the switch a bit faster than I can push it, so we can see the results quicker. So set up like this, hook up your battery, hook it up to a cap, and then simply crank the handle or start pushing the switch. If we keep an eye on the voltage, you can see right there we're already up to 18 volts, and we can keep cranking this and it'll go up and it'll go up and it'll up. I have tried it before I made this video to make sure that it works. Got it up to 290 volts after a couple of minutes simply by doing this. And all that's doing is switching the coil on and off, and we're collecting the back EMF from the coil when it switches off. So we're already up to 100 volts, climbing, climbing, climbing. So now our cap's got 111 volts in it out of a 12 volt battery with my special pulse technology, which is just a simple switch opening and closing. And like I said, keep going and it'll keep going all the way up to 300 volts if you do it long enough, and you can go backwards, forwards, doesn't matter. As long as the switch is opening and closing, the coil's firing up, collapsing, we're collecting the energy from the collapsing coil and sending it to, could even be a battery. It will charge a battery if you've got all day to sit there and crank the handle. So I guess we want to know if that charge is really in there. Now be very careful not to touch the two wires like I did earlier, otherwise you'll find yourself sitting on your bottom. So we'll short that cap out so it's not going to get us. As you can see, it's definitely in there. Right, test 2. One of our neons from our pulse motor, 110 volt neon. And as you know, I've got 12 volt battery here. So what I'll do, I'm just going to hook that up to the neon, like so. Neon doesn't glow. I'll even put the meter on there so we can see that 12 volts is going in. 12.14 volts. So no, the neon's not a simple 12 volt neon. It is in fact 110 volt neon from one of my pulse motors. So our second test is to hook these leads up to the neon that we had hooked to the cap, which is our high voltage out on the coil. Can we make 110 volt neon fire up with my special pulse technology? Oh, look at that. No problem at all. So that just goes to show you there's nothing needed that's so special to get the effect that you're getting from a pulse motor. But like I said, try it yourself. I look and I learn, and then I go through an experiment to make sure that what I'm learning is correct. But as you can see, no special pulse technology needed whatsoever. The voltage coming off of that coil through the back EMF, unlike we've been told, is not 8 volts. In fact, it's way up over 250 volts. Like I said, I have had this little cap charged up to 290 volts. It's only a 300 volt cap. So that's where I stopped, and I have no doubt that this coil is capable of bringing a cap up a higher voltage than that from a 12 volt battery. So just to see how efficient it is, I've got a 6 volt battery here, which at the moment I think is a little bit flat. 5.9 volts in it. Take our 12 volt battery off, put this 6 volt battery on. Oh, look at that. Even the flat 6 volt battery is giving us 110 volts plus pulses through that neon globe. So I hope that's explained away a few of the myths. There are some guys on the forum that are willing to learn. There are some that believe what others say are the gospel. So do yourself a favour, experiment yourself and find out the truth for yourself. But in saying that, there is a lot of guys on the Teak forum that have some really good advice on battery charge rates, different coil configurations, rotor configurations. So take the time, swing over, have a look, join up and join in the fun. Cheers guys.